Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Today we are going to be playing some more Kaiserreich. I guess we should note at the start of the stream that we are not playing on No Step Back, because Kaiserreich is not updated for the newest DLC, so we are still on the old version, so no railroads, no, Ostracore, all of that good stuff. So, we are going to be playing today as Brazil. We do start off as 25 factory, 1681 is decent, I think, as a starting position. We basically have, like, no army. We have 19 ships and 25 aircraft. So, we need to definitely increase the size of our military whenever we can. We will be going down the Syndicalist route for Brazil. I have not done that quite yet, and it's been a while since I think we last played in Brazil. I think it was probably about 2 months ago. Hello, Virian. Welcome. So, research slots. We are going to begin off with all of our basics. Machine tools, construction speed, and our research speed. I'm going to start off building a few civilian factories just for now. We'll go like 3 should be okay. And we have 1 more factory. I mean, how's the equipment doing? We'll give it like 1 in-game tick, because that can usually change these numbers. Okay, so that seems like we have enough equipment for everything. Well, if that's the case, then I probably, like, looking at what we have now, probably want to get some artillery out there. Probably want to get some support equipment. And probably... Oh, Field Creator tanks. We'll hold off on tanks for now. But yeah, we are going to be going down the Syndicalist path, which requires us to, as far as I remember, elect the Social Democrats in 1936. No, yeah, 1936. In 1938, we should have an event. Unless, actually, wait. Yeah. We should have landed in 1938 with some Chilean dude who's going to come over, and he's going to try to influence the government in some way. If we allow him to try to influence the government, the military will coup us, in which case afterwards we just do a counter coup, and that's how we become Syndicalist. I'm hoping for this campaign that Argentina ends up winning the war against Patagonia, just because I think it'd be a nice adversary for us to actually fight. We'll probably also kill the West Indies Federation and the Dutch at some point in the future. Why didn't I do it Thursday? There were complications, let me just put, that happened yesterday that were unforeseen, that required me to have to take a quick break. So I apologize for not actually happening yesterday. The United States of Brazil. Brazil's neutrality and infiltrate kept the country at peace and with stability until the economic collapse following the crisis and its main trade partners after the British Revolution. The period of turmoil came to a head as the balance play was put in jeopardy as both Sao Paulo and Minas Gerais each lost their own candidates for the 1926 election. The stage was set for a major crisis, and thus the Interstate War, also referred to as the Civil War. Sao Paulo has widespread support in its war against the federal government. Especially important was that in the northern and eastern state governors led by João Pausa and the Rio Grande do Sul state. His historical borderland status meant it possessed a disproportionately strong military. This support, coupled with its manufacturing monetary advantages and the mutiny of the Federal Navy, resulted in the war-ending victory for the rebels, and Fernando de Melo resigning in favor of Borges de Medeiros. Again, I don't speak Spanish, or I guess Portuguese, so I'm going to butcher a lot of pronunciations, and I apologize that in advance. Who briefly ruled over the Republic and transitioned it to its current constitution. Ever since, the Republic has transformed it in many ways, especially economically, and has prospered in many ways as 2 presidents in a row were democratically elected. However, as the 1936 election approaches, political radicalism rises as syndicalists, anarchists, and integralists continue to engage in street fights, and rhetoric from politicians become more diverse and aggressive. Is it possible to go totalist? I mean, we'll see where we end up at that point. Okay, Korlov's on Moscow. Assassination of Kerensky. Follow Rio passes away. This morning, Father Sergio Romano Batista died peacefully in his sleep at the old age of 92. The local leader, revered as a saint by the peasantry of the northeastern states, was seen as a great eminence by a political class in Sierra, acting as a neutral mediating party on disputes between the Corellis and the landed oligarchs of the northeast. Okay, so we're going to lose a little bit of stability like this. Our stability is at 33%. I almost said that Brazilians speak Spanish. I almost did. But I corrected myself before I finished the word Spanish, so it doesn't count. We also have 1 dock here, which we're going to use just for some basic convoys. National focus. You are all locked right now. Bonus for electronics, military industry, basic naval techs. So, I mean, I'm guessing, let's see. Industry bonus, infantry weapon bonus, industry, 3 factories here, and an extra research slot. We can actually get that done pretty quickly. After that, weapons, battalions, general staff. You're for like doctrines. We'll go with military equipment effort. Give me my bonus industry. And we will take our 6 divisions here. Put them on the border with Argentina. The Carlos regime. Neighboring Argentina, the past few weeks have been troubled at best. After a coup d'etat during the Christmas days, the radicals led by Manuel Carlos have taken control of Argentina, citing incompetence by authorities to deal properly with what seems to be a cynical revolt in the remote regions. Reports coming from Argentina are sketchy and often conflicting. However, it's been said that it's almost been a month since then, and Brazilians had an official stance on the regime in the south. We will denounce the Argentinian regime. Do I speak French? No. We did French classes for like 6 years. I do not remember any of it. Okay, we'll assign you. Bring ourselves a field marshal. And we'll get our army and navy experience. Sounds great. We're not going to join the Entente or the Reichspakt in this campaign. Obviously, we will be eventually joining up with the Internationale. We'll see how the Internationale actually fares. I don't know if this will be a campaign where they do very, very well, or they basically end up getting stomped. It can go either way. Do need steel. We'll get that for... If we're going to be going and aligning ourselves with the Internationale, it makes sense for us to start trading with them first. How many factories? 7 factories available. The aluminum's just for the aircraft. Which, no, we want to get the Air Force decently powered up. But again, like, we do want Argentina to win the war against... Still kind of Brazil is not worth it. I know some people that live in Brazil. I know some people that live in Argentina as well. I guess it's not really relevant to the, I think it's kind of relevant if we go to a war. Anyway, we'll draw an offensive line like this. But again, we want Argentina to win the war against Patagonia and Chile, just because it'll give us something to do in the Krieg instead of just having to send troops to Europe. Okay, so yeah, we're basically just going to rush for these 3 military factories and research slots. I mean, those all just sound good. I don't know really how else you could possibly phrase that. Okay, Austria is withdrawn from Italy. Okay, what is everybody else doing? Again, it's still like February of 1936. Nothing should be too unique. Like, you won't really see which ways any countries end up going until probably again the end of the year. Marshal Wu's has back Nanjing. Pretty sure these are the rebellions in the Nanjing clique. The left KMT, yeah, they have risen up again, but these areas will eventually rebel against Nanjing. We'll see how that goes for them. Don't knock stuff off the table. Black Monday has hit Brazil. Disaster. Brazil faces ruin. No amount of panic could be too much. For the crashing of the German economy cascades into our agriculture and the same industries like the train into cattle. What does that mean? Like, I guess it's like a train running into cows? Anyway, there is little we can do to but watch the disaster unfold. As our budget collapses almost overnight, our currency loses half its value, and millions of investments are cancelled and pulled out of the country. We don't even have the funds to pay vital government personnel. The situation stands now. Decades of planning and prosperity all gone to waste. Okay, so it's a pretty bad Black Monday modifier for us, unfortunately. Where do we get rid of Black Monday? Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a time thing. We got mining grants. Okay, so we can only start, I think, dealing with Black Monday once we've already elected a government in September. Or was it October? It was neither, it was November. General strike in Rio. General strike has been called in Rio de Janeiro after several categories, including train and railway workers. While adherence to the strike has been limited, the barricades and disturbances have been reported, even if not really close to the city center. The army has been sent to aid local forces in restoring order. We can only hope the protesters come to their senses and lay down their arms. So, even more modifiers, but it's only for 30 days. Try to form the URSAL, conspiracy theory from Brazilian candidates. It says there's a group in Brazil that wants a Latin USSR. Is that a thing we can actually do? Can we form a Brazilian USSR? Okay, that's a Pius the 11th. Okay, we don't really care about what the Pope's doing. It looks like we've got the syndicalists elected in Britain. And attendance uprising quashed. Under some days of discontent, the barracks in Porto Alegre has risen in revolt. They were severely punished for their treason. Regrettable symptom of the trying times we live in. Okay, thanks for even less stability. We're at 16% right now, which is of course fantastic. But I'll get some military factories, and I'll get my research slot, and we'll all be happy. Nobody will have anything bad to ever say again. Factory slows down. As Black Monday damages the purchasing powers for non-essential goods for most of Brilliant, many factories close down as their goods have no market. They are forced to face massive losses. Disastrous setbacks were plans of developing our industry, and we may take years to properly recover. The Patagonian front? Oh yeah, that was the thing I remember hearing. I think if Patagonia goes totalist, there's somebody that tries to form and unite all of South America. That is definitely one of the campaigns I want to try. It'll probably within the next 5. I think I already have like the next 5 playthroughs kind of planned in my head for Kaiserreich, and I think uniting all of South America as Patagonia is going to be one of them. It's not a good Kaiserreich campaign with negative stability. We're not at negative though. We're at 17%. So we still have maybe a little bit of hope. But my next ideas for campaigns. For Kaiserreich, in no particular order, I'm not too sure what order I will play these campaigns in, is going to be, Feding Government in Manchuria. We're going to be playing as Arabia. Again, at some point we're going to play as the Patagonian Workers Front and try to form that massive South American nation that, as far as I know, basically has very, very few chances of actually surviving. I want to try playing as United Kingdom after they've been, after United Britain has already fallen, which I think could be an interesting campaign, because I actually have no idea really what happens after that point. And I was thinking of trying another campaign as the American Union state at some point as well, and trying to go for Pele, which is, you know, incredibly cursed, but I guess it's different. Anyway, a general strike ends in bloodbath. The strikes in Rio de Janeiro have ended the worst possible way. The army were brutal and merciless in its approach to the barricades, and several fatalities were reported. Lethal force was used in an indiscriminate fashion. Press and public demand position from the government, as do many senators. Let us condemn the violent action. We'll condemn the military. Because again, if we're going to be trying to go forward these syndicalists, I think it makes more sense for us to condemn the military in this situation. Portuguese colonial fair. King of Portugal has opened a colonial fair in Rio de Janeiro. Celebrated bonds between Brazil and Portugal. While some leftists claim it is a shameless propaganda move by the colonial state, Portuguese officials insist that the expedition is purely scientific in nature. It seeks to educate the people of Portugal's mission to civilize the dark continent, by comparing its colonies to those under German rule with quite frequency. Instead, frequent comparison have drawn the ire of German ambassador in Brazil, as they claims their slanderous claims on the Governor Goring's upstanding character. Regardless of the political controversies, the many trinkets, objects, and even African kings brought to bound. No. Okay, my sleep has been a little bit messed up today. Regardless of political controversies, the many trinkets, objects, and even African kings are bound to bring the people in large numbers to see the fair's many curiosities. Okay. We have a handful of planes that are in reserve. We're not going to deploy them quite yet. I don't see a reason to do that. But we probably do want to get some units in training. We have 1.7 thousand rifles. What is... 18 combat with? That's fine. We can worry about that in the future. Let's just go like 5 for now. We can deploy up to 38 units. Which, as for Brazil, I think that's going to be a completely reasonable number. And I'm sure once we get, you know, military economy, better recruitment laws, we should be able to increase that in the future. We are at negative 167 political power, which is not good. I think we can all agree that's not a great number to be at. Okay, there's one military factory, followed up with another 2 military factories. Is there not a civilian factory in here? Yeah, there's some over on this side. Well, that's actually it. Yeah, let's do the Civil War. That actually... Why are you lit up? Oh, Civil War. Okay, that makes sense. Guimarães Rosa publishes Magma. Guimarães Rosa, like most brilliants, have been affected by the economic issues of the time, and has found himself caving to the pressure to publish a book he never had any attention to. While lauded and well known in literary circles, the Magma collection of poems was something of a mystery until its release. It is expected to sell well for a book of that type. And a return to the coffee fires. Just like in the past decade, our coffee piles up with nobody to buy it. The solution found by state governments is to burn the surplus of the harvest in large fires, to keep the prices from utterly and completely collapsing again. It's certainly an extreme measure, but Black Monday's disastrous impact is far from over. Dark times are ahead. Yeah, this is for political power. I didn't need it to begin with. Okay, but now that that is now researched, we can go for Concentrate Industry 1. We've done in 80 days. A nice little time on that, for sure, for sure. We have about 40 days left on you. What do we want to do next? Again, we have our military. Let's turn off Fog of War, because again, I think it looks bad. In your SR Italy series, did you have to restart it like as in the Left KMT series? No, I never restarted the Italy campaign. I think that campaign goes like to 1948. It's by far the longest campaign in Kaiserreich I've ever done. It's like I think the longest campaign in any Hearts of Iron 4 game I've ever done. Except maybe one of the only one that I think maybe would be longer is maybe one of the New Order campaigns, just because that's a lot of like story heavy stuff. Anyways, Manuel Breda publishes Estrella da Manha. Renowned poet Manuel Breda has published yet another book, Estrella da Manha, which is also bound to be acclaimed by the public. Known for its modernist and innovative style, the author has frequently gone against the current of well-organized poetry, especially in recent years. Having arrived back in Brazil after years in Europe after the outbreak of the Wildkrieg, his work gradually became more heterodox each book. The subjects of poems often mixing comedic, deathly, and even vulgar tones, and his drift towards modernism is very well shown in his most recent book. While praise for it's almost universal in more modern literary circles, some intellectuals like Pilo Sadido slam the poem as cheap and overly cynical. Why do you make it so long? I think that's like my second Kaiserreich series ever. I didn't know better back then. I didn't know better. If there would never be another 72 episode Kaiserreich series. It would just never happen. I think the longest, I'm trying to think, what's my second longest Kaiserreich series? I think second longest might be like 45 episodes. Like, I've had a few long ones, but more recently, I've been trying to make sure series are done, wrapped up much faster. Okay, attendance uprising squashed. Barbarians visited a revolt, this time in Salvador. The local garrison demanded fair price and better democracy, but said vague demands were silenced by loyalists who stormed the barricade, living quarters. Okay, thanks. Less stability, less political power. I don't need it. I don't need it. Consider doing an Old World Blues campaign. I've done a few of them, but funnily enough, like, people on YouTube at the very least do not care about Old World Blues. I'm not too sure why. Old World Blues just doesn't do very well on the channel. But I do want to play it at some point again. I'm not too sure who I would play. Maybe like the Seattle Brotherhood. I think could be interesting. Anyway, Getato Vargas courts state leaders. Getato Vargas, state president of Rio Grande do Sul, and former vice president of the JP government, has met with several important figures from other states, especially those from the Northeast that have backed him in his term. Seems to be laying the groundwork for a candidacy for the presidency, and his plans for a more active government, which can energetically act against crisis situations, have found listeners in the meeting. Okay, so I'm not too sure what party he is a part of. Again, we are going to be electing the Social Democrats. An anarchist uprising and real consequences of the Battle of Sao Paulo were felt in this week. An anarchist uprising occurred in the northwest areas of the federal district. While few in number, having actively lost areas so near to the capital could be dangerous, and thus our officers have taken immediate action. There's negative 5% stability. Fantastic. Okay, the Italian Socialist. I think you are just the... You're just a standard syndicalist. And we got a constitutional victory in Bulgaria, which is... Okay, so Brazil's gone slightly democratic. I'm not too sure how long that will go. But I think after the war with the Belgrade Pact, things can definitely change very quickly there. ED names Magnaberia as their candidate. Democratic Left is very much a broad front formed by people that range from former Republicans frustrated with the lack of aid to the common people, to syndicalists who seek to gain power via democratic methods. This Big Ten organization of the party made choosing a president candidate difficult, even if it wasn't a particularly contentious process. Hoa Magnaberia is probably the most well known for being a left-wing brother to President Magnaberia than his own career. But this recognition may very well be his greatest asset, and it's probably going to be a complicated electoral process. The nomination is just beginning with his journey, where he needs to properly build a left front with several factions, such as with the Unions and the FAB.